And that was the chief press secretary to the Lagos State Governor. Now we go back to the CBN story here in Nigeria as we await the Senate to begin screening of President Tinubu's CBN governorship, I would say, of course, nominee. But Olayemi Cardoso is the man of the hour, the man who will be in the spotlight once that screening starts. And joining me to discuss this is the CEO of Asher Investment, Muktar Mohammed. Muktar, welcome to the news. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Tolulope. It's good to have you.
All right. So when we look at this in terms of the work ahead of Dr. Olayemi Cardoso, it's a very extensive, very deliberate and intentional situation he's going to be walking into. And many people say that it's not just about him, but looking at who he is, his pedigree, and of course, his resume, does this look like the right man, the man that President Tinubu could have chosen for this position?
Yeah, we've never seen a central bank governor that anybody have seen is not the right man. The only person that we had ensure that he might not be the right man was Chukwuma Soludo. When he came in, he didn't have any banking background. He was an economist. After that, we've always had the right man, Lamido Sanusi, MD of a bank, Godwin Emefiele, MD of a bank. I think the only difference between Olayemi Cardoso now, we have seen a commissioner before, and a stock entrepreneur also, and then we are seeing an economist, a man that has been in the forefront of economic rebirth, in the sense that he has also been somebody that have not just, after being commissioner of Lagos State, he went into hiding. He's still been there. He run a financial consulting company, an economic company that continuously give forecasts about where the economic is going, advising government on what to do, both monetary wise and physical side. So it will be a good time for him to, it will be a good place for him to now begin to implement some of those things that I was advising government at that time to do.
And we know with Nigerian Senate and these nominations and screenings, we tend to see some situations of you may bow and go. But given that this is a very key nomination, very key role in this administration, given where Nigeria is, many people are asking and expecting some very serious and hopefully tough questions from the Senate. What do you think are the top 3 priorities that if you were a senator, you'd be attempting to extract information or his thoughts on processes and strategies potentially on how Dr. Cardoso would handle things at the CBN?
Well, Tulu, unfortunately, I'm not a senator, but let me peep into their mind. One, I'll be looking at how is he going to tackle the exchange rate volatility, especially the difference between the parallel and the official window. Now that the naira is being floated, that's first question I will ask as a senator. Secondly, I'll ask him how he intends to bring, how to tackle the inflationary pressures that we are having now. How is he going to tackle it both in the monetary wise, because he's not in charge of physical policy? How is he going to tackle it? And how is he going to work with the physical side? You know, the challenge we've had with the previous administration was the monetary policy begins to do what the physical should be doing. And so the physical became non-existent. So we'll ask him how he's going to go about one. And then thirdly, how is he going to bring corporate governance into the CBN? That is very, very important, because we've seen a CBN that can go 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, 7 years without publishing a detailed report. How is he going to bring corporate governance into the CBN? Will we now start having audited report quarterly, half year, or end of the year? Since you as a regulator regulate a financial institution that normally we give you a financial statement, audited report, a half year, full year, or quarterly. So what is he going to do in that area to make sure that we bring corporate governance to the CBN?
So let me go back to what we know of Dr. Cardoso. We also know that he was, of course, with President Tinubu during his time as governor of Lagos State, and possibly some might say he's quite central to sort of the formulation of how Lagos State became Nigeria's foremost state, particularly for the Fourth Republic, and of course the infamous row between then President Olusegun Obasanjo and Governor Tinubu then that starved the state of some of its expected funds. So when we look at his time as, economic planning, yes, Commissioner of Finance for Economic Planning, around that part for Lagos State, and then, of course, his time at Citibank and where he has been before, what kind of CBN governor do you think that Dr. Cardoso would be?
I learned he was a headmaster. That's what the president normally calls him. And I mean, when he was governor, calling the headmasters and some of the commissioners and people that worked with him say he's someone that goes to look for details and make sure that what is not appropriate for is not being utilized. So definitely that will be one of those things we are looking forward to. We want to see a CBN that will be independent to advise government accordingly, especially when we see that government have abused the ways and the means. We want a CBN governor that is ready to come there to look at the government to the face and say, look, you can't borrow thus far, you borrow too much, you need to do this, we need to do that. And I think from what I've gathered from people that knows him and people that work with him and what we've read in the news, I think he's the right man that can bring that to governance in Nigeria. And like I said, corporate governance is very, very important, especially with where we want to know the real state, the true state of our reserve. Do we have up to 30 million or do we have 5 million?
Yeah. All right. Before I let you go, Muktar, and that last point goes to my last question as well. Today, hearing that the investigator that President Bola Tinubu said to look into the dealings of the CBN is expected to drop his interim report. While we don't have a crystal ball in front of us, many people say they are not going to be particularly surprised with some of the dealings that happened inside the CBN. But what do you think we might be seeing with that interim report?
Well, Tolu, unfortunately, I'm not so excited about the interim report because I don't think we need a special investigator to find out what is in the CBN. So, but the president have gone ahead to do that. I'm waiting and seeing. But if you look at things that have happened around, that the acting governor it was also at the point arrested and also was not confirmed like what people thought it would happen. If you look at the CBN governor had to resign, you look at the 4 deputy governors going all at the same time, then definitely you know that a lot of things have happened. Why I'm not so happy about what has happened is because some of the investigative report that we're expecting a special investigator to get to us in public domain after the submission of the report was already in public domain before the submission of the report, and I don't think that all got well. So that's why, for me, I'm not so excited about it. And if you remember, the popular phrase that Mr. Minister off your mic, and nothing came out from there. So I'm not too excited about it. Definitely, I'm not too excited.
All right, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that there is a level of transparency and, of course, honesty when we see these reports, and hopefully not too many surprises, but again, a way forward. Muktar Mohammed, thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure, Tulu. Thank you for having me.